Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to season 6 of the MindShare Podcast. This show was sponsored by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, a 2-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals, as well as REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. Learn more about our sponsors by visiting my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of our MindShare 101 goal-setting worksheet, as well as learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 267. He is a seasoned security and intelligence covert specialist with over 20 years of global experience, having served government organizations like the British Ministry of Defense, corporations, and VIPs. His expertise lies in HUMINT, particularly in surveillance, anti-surveillance, and time-sensitive human analysis in high-risk situations. His ability to connect with diverse individuals fosters trust, enabling effective results in dealing with both clients and adversaries. His numerous academic qualifications include psychology, statement analysis, mind control, and neuro-linguistic programming, and he is also an acclaimed author of the nonfiction book, How to Tell If Someone's Lying. Renowned as a body language expert, he holds top secret clearances and is ranked number 28 globally. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare Podcast is former spy, Gavin Stone. Gavin, welcome to the MindShare Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm curious to see how much you might already know about me. I'm a little concerned over here. I'm wondering, but seriously, like, you're a former spy. Eh? Like, I think the first thing that comes to mind is, how does somebody become a former spy without putting themselves in like a huge amount of danger?
So luckily for me, I've done some fantastic operations in and around the world in different parts. And my kind of days of doing that, if you've done it properly and you've got in and out without anybody noticing and you've done a good job, then there shouldn't be any danger by rights. But there always is a little.
I got to imagine. I mean, like you must be doing some crazy. You must have done some crazy stuff. And I don't know. I guess you can't talk about a lot of these things. Maybe you can. But like, look. I said this to you before we got on air. I kind of joked about Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery and, whatever. And like, but I am a huge James Bond fan for sure. I think maybe one of the questions everybody would want to know is like, is being a spy really like what it is in the movies?
Not really, no. So there are some things that they get right, but it is for poetic license. It's there for entertainment. There are certain things that they have to kind of, they'll show something which we might do, but then, they'll wrap it up quickly and they'll tend to show like kind of, a slideshow of an operation that's up and coming or something along them lines. And in truth, it's probably taken a year to get that slideshow together of covert surveillance, of gathering all that information and that kind of thing. And they'll flick through, we went out this morning and got this, it's not quite that quick and convenient. I wish it was.
Did you ever have one of those things that'll like, deconstruct in like 60 seconds?
Yeah, so that's called just-in-time training. And what they'll
seriously,
yeah. So what we'll do with that when we do the training, you might have to say field strip a Glock 19, for example, and what they'll say, they'll get you to do it time and time again until you're proficient in it, and then they might turn around and say, right, now you've got to do it in 2 minutes. We know it can be done in 2 minutes, but it can be just done in 2 minutes. And the thing is, we're going to raise the stakes. Basically, if you do it, you've progressed to the next level and you're going to continue on with your training. If you don't, you're binned, it's over. And they'll say, pick it up, your time starts now. And you're like, and with that added pressure, that you've got to make sure you can strip this thing completely down, rebuild it and put it back and put it down again within those 2 minutes. It allows them to say, okay, you can remain composed under that pressure and do what you can already do, but with that added pressure on top of you.
So a lot of the training comes back to not only having significant training within the field of just understanding what you need to do in a day, but then there's the added pressure that they add on to go, okay, well, you know what to do. Now seeing if you can actually pull it off in a real life situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
right, so that's a big thing for people. Like in anything we do, it's almost like, hey, I could sit there and go, yeah, I could do it. Then all of a sudden people are like, okay, the clock is ticking. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right. You start to think twice, like, can I actually pull it off?
And as soon as you raise the stakes, you know, that like to the levels of what they do, that, you know, that kind of, it magnifies absolutely everything, you know, and like it takes a lot of time to build up to that. But, you know, in the end, it allows you to get to the point where chaos can be going on around you and you'll be concentrating on what you're doing nice and calm.
You know, it's interesting because I got to imagine a lot of the stuff that is being done at that level could incorporate some life or death, like real.
Yeah.
This is not movies.
No, and it's just so it's not just yourself here, but you're also looking at other people and the asset that you're recruiting and so many other things that, you know, and it'll depend on, you know, varied country to country. So, you know, some countries they will just deport you for spying and you'll be persona non grata if you are there under diplomatic cover. You've got other countries, if they even suspect you're spying, then it's going to be very, very horrific for both you and anybody you're associated to. So.
That talk about like just added pressure.
Yeah.
Right. Like having to actually do things. So one of our we've got our VIP room and we've got folks that are watching from within the VIP room. These are all people that are within our MindShare Masters community. And someone was just asking here, you know, they wanted to know, where do you get your training to become a spy?
Right. So it's not something you can just pop down to your local job center and say, I want to do a training course in
so there's no like Indeed for this type of stuff? Or
No. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't quite work like that. So although I didn't go down the traditional route, so if you're recruited by the likes of, say, MI6 or something like that, they'll take you away and they'll take you to there's a place called the Fort. It's like a secret place in Portsmouth where they'll do your training there for a lot of it. There's another one in Cardross and they're dotted around in London and they'll do all the training in-house. Now, with me, I like I said, I wasn't recruited in the traditional way. So for me, it was something that I actually did bit by bit. I started at the bottom of the pile doing process serving and investigations and that kind of thing. And bit by bit, I managed to go up a step. And every time I went up a step, somebody said, hey, you know, you're pretty good at this. Do you think you can try that? And, you know, and I'd move from one thing to another. And I'd get the training as I went. As each department might turn around and say, hey, you know, you were really good at covert surveillance. Do you want to come and try HUMINT? And, you know, and so I'd say, yeah, okay. Then I get trained in HUMINT. And then they say, right, let's send you out to do a bit of that. And then it kind of built up gradually over time. So for me, it wasn't like I was thrust into the job, given all the training and then told to go and do it. There are private training companies that you can go to that will give you the same kind of training, you know, on a civilian level. But yeah, that's
okay. No, yeah. So I mean, as you talk about moving up a step, because that's an interesting one, right? And I think that we can parallel that in anything. We can say in life we're trying to grow. If I work for, you know, a company in a corporation, I may want to grow. For people that run their own business, they want to grow. What would you know, when you say like we, you know, started from the bottom, started to move my way up, what might have been one or two or even three of those like really important character traits that you had to possess to say, this is going to give me that opportunity for growth? I mean, did this come down to making the right connections, having the right mindset? Was it both of those? Was it something different?
A mixture of both, because I mean, first of all, I mean, one of the things I've said, you know, so many times was it helped that I was just in the right place to be able to rub shoulders with the right people. You know, so if I was at the Ministry of Defence or I was at some government organisation, or you know, I would look for the opportunity. I wouldn't wait for it to come to me. I would create it. So if I was at a military training installation, I'd ask around who makes the decisions. Who does what, you know, and then when I found out who is the decision maker, who has the power or the authority to say, we can hire you for this, I would make a point of making that person be my best friend for the next 24 hours and
relationships.
Exactly. In fact, my wife's heard me say it a few times when she's caught me talking to somebody and she said, who's that? And I said, that man there is my best friend. He doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be within the next 24 hours. And she chuckles every time because, she knows what I'm like for networking. And the most important thing with this is sincerity. And look, you can use somebody for leverage, but it's no good just using them and dropping them. If you're going to bring somebody into the fold, into your network, you need to look and say, well, they're going to continue to be my friend, and everybody who I've made friends with, I'm still friends with. It's not like I've got what I want from you, now I'm off,
It's interesting that we bring this up today. This has been an ongoing conversation over the past. This is an ongoing conversation with everything we do when it comes to helping people, grow their businesses and grow their lives. But I was talking about this, I think even with my wife the other day, just around relationships and looking at, because when we look at even our own businesses, I would say, the person who owns the business is probably the best salesperson you got, because somehow you got to the point of owning the business. You took the chance to go and do so. And you've probably built connections that got you started to the point where you're able to create a business. Now, whether you need growth and need to bring on staff to have or other team members to help you grow is one thing. That being said, the ability to form connections, to network with people, when we talk about trying to grow a business, and maybe we include the word sales in there, and we're going to get more into this conversation as we progress. It really comes back to what you just said, though. You've got to be sincere. Yeah. You've got to be there to network, but do it out of a place of actually sincerity and building a relationship rather than, all right, what can I get from Gavin today? Because, dude, a guy like you is going to read right through that, I would imagine.
Most people, people can generally see through, these kind of what I call the double glazing salesman smiles. Right. They know, they can tell. You don't have to be a body language expert or anything else for people to be able to look and go, yeah, no, he's full of it. Right. So, so at the end of the day, you do have to approach things with like kind of, I am going to make this person, somebody who is going to be invited to my family barbecues or whatever the case may be.
No, it's the right way to think. So before we move on, any like really cool story you could share about sort of being in the field? Are you even able to do so? It's just something like again, like I picture James Bond. He's like saving the world from like this big chemical attack, or another one from something else. And
I can within reason.
Sorry, I keep using James Bond.
No, that's fine. It's actually when I wrote my spy novel, that was the one thing I thought I'm going to avoid using the words James Bond anywhere throughout this entire novel because it's just got the cliche attached to it. But yeah, the whole so I can share certain things as long as I don't kind of divulge specifics.
No, for sure. We are on a social media. We're live. This is a podcast.
Exactly.
All platforms.
So what I'll tell you about, I needed to get. I was at a party on one occasion where I needed, and it's not all cocktail parties. I wish it was, but I needed to get some massive credibility very, very fast, and I needed to get in with a particular person at this party, and I literally went from like kind of zero to everybody in the room wanting to come and shake my hand within a few seconds. And the way I did it, I got a friend of mine to approach a particular person at the party who was a general, very high up, respected, kind of known by everybody. And he was that kind of notorious that you just wouldn't and couldn't walk up to this guy. You had to really be somebody to be even in a conversation with him. So my friend went over and she said to the general, she says, "Can you help me? I've got a really sore throat." She says, "My friend Gavin is right over the other side of the room. Can you give him a shout for me?" So this general,
and she pretends she doesn't know who he is, kind of thing.
Yeah. So this general looked over and went, "Gavin," like this, and I just went and give him like kind of, I'll be 1 minute, and everybody's looking at me. Who's this guy? You're
telling this guy 1 minute.
Yeah, then he's telling the general, I'll be there in 1 minute, just a second, kind of thing. Of course, my friend's over there. She's thanked him, much appreciated. That's great. I've finished my conversation here. Walked over then to the general. And my friend turned around and said, "Oh, thank you. This is Gavin, by the way." And obviously, I wasn't using my own name. Shook hands, blah blah blah. And I'm really condensing this story a little bit,
for sure.
Yeah, if you can imagine, the guy shook hands with me. I've got through the pleasantries, and then me and this particular friend of mine have walked off. I can then literally not only approach anybody in the room, but people are falling over themselves to come to me to kind of say, "Hi, I'm so and so from this place or so and so from that place." I didn't even have to approach the gentleman I wanted to approach. He approached me, and that made my life a hell of a lot easier.
Wow. So again, though, another nod to the power of connection.
Yeah.
And
perceived value.
Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Because at the end of the day, I'm sorry, go on.
No, go.
I'm just saying that perceived value is a massive thing, especially when it comes to sales. You know, the difference a badge can make on a anything from a handbag to a car, you know, is unbelievable. So, you know, and at that particular time, that was a method of my perceived value being dramatically increased, you know. So sales wise, if you can put the perceived value up of yourself or your product, then, you know, that in itself is a massive boost.
No, it's a good point. So I got to ask, what is HUMINT?
HUMINT is human intelligence. So it's basically information that you technically steal from other countries. And that human intelligence is gathered through recruiting assets so if you had let's make up a country name, I don't know, Notepadsville, you know, you've gone out to Notepadsville and you're out there and you've found somebody who works within the government who has access to a lot of secrets. You then literally insert yourself into their lives. You become their best friend. And then, you recruit that person then to share information with you. Share information, steal secrets. It's the same thing, just, phrased a different way. And you then take that information back to your customer, and your customer will then say, brilliant, that's just what we need. Also, can you find out this, or, and you'll be given tasks to get what you can, from them, or looking to recruiting more people in the area.
But so is this is a skill? Is that what we call it? Like, is HUMINT a skill? Is this something where you can learn HUMINT?
Yeah, because it's one of those things that I've used it in many, many ways, where whether it's to find out about a company, for example, there's a lad I know who wanted a particular job. Well, he didn't want a job. He wanted to work at a particular company. It was called Heli Operations. He wanted to work there purely because of the fact that he wanted to one day get his helicopter license. Mm-hmm. So I said, right, here's what we do. We do what I do. We go and recruit assets. We go and make friends with people who work there. And then when we've kind of established, like a network of people within the company, we then ask them what they need. Whatever they tell us that they need, we then make you that person to fill the gap, as it were. So this is coming out absolutely dreadfully. It sounded a lot better the first time I said it. But yeah, so once you've made like half a dozen friends at this particular company, you can ask them just general questions. What is your company lacking? Where are the problems? When you find out where they are and they go, oh, we've got this massive issue with supply chain, then, you can turn around and say, right, let's fill that gap. What's the exact problem in supply chain? Find out what it is, and then I go to my customer and say, right, go and learn everything you can about supply chain and get proficient in it. And I teach them a system to be good at anything in less than 24 hours. And then basically they master it and then come back, and I say, right, now we go back to Heli Operations and say, that problem, here's your solution. And I hand them over my customer, and job done. He's got the job that he wanted.
You see, a big part of that, what I just heard there was anybody can sort of come up with anything within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And, I look at that as being resourceful. I look at that as understanding who it is that you do want to connect with. And then from that point, being able to say, okay, what can I do to solve that? It's the same thing I say to anybody. You want something, go ask the question.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never going to know if you don't ask, right? And then people, how did you get that? And in turn, I asked. They're like, really? That's it? You're like, well, no, not all the time. That's not it. Like, there's a lot of work that goes in the background. But by the time I get ready to ask, I'm armed with what I need to know that I can ask properly. Yeah. And other times, you just ask, but you got to ask the question. And sort of tying that to the 24 hours there of understanding, human intelligence and being able to figure out what do they need and how to solve it. I believe we've got so much information on our fingertips these days that we really do have the access between, the search engines and the videos that are out there on the different platforms, to the people that we may know, to the, the intelligence we may have internally, to be able to come up with something.
Oh, yeah.
That can help solve the problem.
And to like echo what you said there, I've said it many, many times to my family. If you don't ask, then the answer will always be no.
Right.
So it's as simple as that. At least if you do ask, there's a 50-50 chance. And you can improve those odds, like you say, by doing your research. You can, you've got the entire working knowledge of everything we have in the universe, on record in a gadget in your pocket most of the time. So
true, right?
There's no reason why you can't. Exactly.
So you're in your bio. We talk. It mentions about mind control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that sounds scary. Like, but powerful all at the same time, right? Tell us more about what this means.
So it sounds a lot scarier than what it is, and it's not something where I'm going to start dangling a pocket watch in front of you and saying, you will buy my car or something. It doesn't work like that.
So hold on, that doesn't work?
No.
No wonder.
I mean, you can do hypnosis that way, but mind control, there's a bit more to it, and it's not like an instant click of your fingers and now you're a zombie and you'll do what I tell you.
Right.
It goes down to basically, if you think of it more of influence, but with a boost, and there's ways you can do it. So if I give you an example,
I was just going to say, do you have any examples? Okay,
yeah. So one of the first methods I learned was something called setting anchors. And what you would do, I'd sit with my wife, and every time we're having a really great time or something funny comes on the telly that makes her laugh or something happens where she's really enjoying herself, I'll touch her left elbow. Just give it a little tap.
You'll touch her left elbow?
Yeah. Just I'll put my hand on her left elbow. She
starts to laugh. I'm just breaking this right down. Sorry, Gavin.
Yeah.
Watch something funny. She starts to laugh. You touch her left elbow.
Yeah. Anything positive. She sees a puppy and goes, touch the left elbow. Something funny makes her hysterically laugh on the telly, touch the left elbow. Keep doing that again and again and again.
Is she acknowledging that you touched it? Is she like, what?
It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. Okay. But just kind of keep it as subtle as you can. Don't go to the point where you're trying to send a Morse code message. Just touch the elbow and go, that was funny, wasn't it? Or the cute puppy, yeah, that's really cute. So you do that. You touch that left elbow, and what it does, the anchor is set. And it works in the same way as Pavlov and his dogs through association. Do you remember the Pavlov and his dogs experiment? He'd ring the bell every time he fed them. They'd start to salivate, and eventually he wouldn't need to feed them. He could just ring the bell and the dogs would start to salivate. It'd cause a physiological response to the conditioning of hearing the bell. So what you're doing basically is you're just creating a conditioning that the left elbow is associated to something positive. You can do exactly the same with the right elbow with something negative. So every time she's watching a sad movie or gets some bad news or is really annoyed at you because you've been out all night with the lads again or whatever, you just touch the right elbow and you say, I'm sorry, nightmare. And what she'll do, she'll associate, eventually you build up that anchor enough, she'll associate that with negative. Now, in time, you can fire those anchors when you need to. So
something doesn't happen.
Yep. So you're having a neutral conversation and you walk into the room and your wife's standing there and you just turn around and you touch her on the elbows. You say, listen, I've got to go for a lads weekend this weekend. It's part of a business trip. Are you okay with that? That touch is going to fire that association of positivity.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. And you get, okay.
My wife's not listening to this one. I'm making mental notes right here.
I hope my wife's not listening to it too. So. And of course, you've got exactly the same thing. If she says, well, I want to go to my mom's for Thanksgiving, then you touch her on the other elbow, on the negative elbow. You say, sure, that's a good idea. And then it's like, oh, yeah, she gets that feeling of, I'm not sure actually that it is a good idea. Remember, your brother's going to be there. He's going to be drunk. Does this happen last time? Yeah. And of course, it just kind of then that association of negativity is like, no, I don't think we'll do that. We'll have Thanksgiving at home. So, bearing in mind, this isn't definitive, but it will have exactly the same response once you've built that anchor up enough. And you can't just do it 2 or 3 times in a day and expect it to work. It's not something that, so. I
was going to say how long, I mean, my mind naturally just says how long. Well, it depends who, it depends what, it depends on a number of different factors. Yeah. But is there something there to say that do this for X amount of time and it should start to sink in? That's just what we've learned about how humans
Well, people are just creatures of habit anyway, and subconsciously do things and react to things, even if they're not aware of it. And this is what you're kind of relying on. So it will be different with different people, and so. I suppose like anything, isn't it, really? It's like kind of saying, how long do I have to go to the gym before I get muscles? But, once you've kind of...
You have the answer for that, because, like, I keep going.
Yeah, I keep going. Apparently, you got to lift weights as well, though. So, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, that's where I've been going wrong. There was one machine that I went on for about an hour, but it kept taking the quarters and giving me the Snickers, and yeah.
So if I wanted to, let's say, leverage something like that, and here I'm going to spin us right now, and I'm going to say, okay, instead of our wives. And all jokes aside about the wives, obviously, but our audience here that is tuned in is made up of primarily of entrepreneurs, salespeople, and many of these people work in the real estate industry, dealing with homes, dealing with other clients, and dealing with a lot of people that they've done business with in the past before, but also a lot of new people. And they're always out there trying to find the next person. And one big message that we've always got, because this podcast is very much about sales and marketing. You're trying to build a relationship.
Yeah.
You're trying to do that. And as people are working on deals every single day, there's going to be somebody on the other side of the table, and you may know them, you may not know them. But now it's a matter of how do we read them? Right. So as we talk about this, if I said to you, let's say using the elbow perspective, and I guess it could be the shoulder, it could be a poke in the head.
It can be anywhere.
It could be any repetitive something. What would be the subtle way to be able to do that? And maybe it is sitting on the couch with my wife, but what if I'm on the other side? Like, how do you do it subtly?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's a little bit different, but it depends, because you don't want to be putting negative and positive anchors at the same time anyway. So you want to get one set and well and truly in there, and so you work on all your positives first, and then in a customer situation where you're with your client, you're in the home, and every time you see them smile or react positively, you give them that touch on the elbow, and you're saying, this is a good point. And they go, oh, yeah, I like that. Touch them on the elbow. Yeah, I thought you might. It's great, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. You've done that half a dozen times. Then as you're walking out, you will naturally be able to kind of turn yourself. So as they turn around, you just come to the other side of them. And now you're on the opposite side, and you can turn around and say, leaving this place just has a bad feel or whatever. And, and then touch them on the opposite elbow. And then as you're leaving, you can put the negativity in. When it comes to houses, I mean, houses, wow. Houses and homes are probably something that, if done properly, you should be selling 10 a day.
Ooh, you just got everybody stopped. Like people just. I hope that you're not driving right now. You just hit the brakes on something. I know everybody just got excited, Gavin.
If I was doing real estate, I could literally, I would just say, give me one customer, let me take them to any house. You pick the house, I'll get it sold, and that's it. Because what you're doing with a house, you're not selling them bricks and mortar. You're selling them a dream.
Just decided, forgive me. I totally cut you off there, but I just thought about, we're starting a real estate team, and I want to make you my head salesperson.
Why not? Let's go for it. You'll have to sponsor my visa though to come over and live in the US. I mean, providing there's no kind of technical reasons like the person can't get mortgaged or whatever the case may be, if as long as there's no kind of hiccups, then getting the yes. It should be so simple, because, like I say, you're not selling them really. You're not selling them bricks and mortar. You're selling them a dream. And if you can get them to do the majority of the work for you. I remember teaching a real estate guy, and I basically said, all I want you to do is watch what I do. I said, I'll sell the property. You just watch what I do and do a carbon copy of it each and every time. And from the minute the couple got there, the first thing I'm doing is welcoming them, congratulating them, telling them how much they're going to love it before they've even got through the door. And most importantly, telling them that everybody's after it. So when we've walked through the door, we've got it set up. If you've got cookies baking in the oven, if you can arrange that, perfect.
That's what I said to people, make that nice smell, right?
Oh, definitely. And the most important part is find out as quickly as you can who wears the pants, right? Who makes the decisions? Who's the one who's in the driving seat? Because a lot of couples will turn around and say, I've got to ask my wife, or I've got to ask my husband. You need to know which one is that you're selling to. And 9 times out of 10, it's the wife that has the final. So she's the one. The man might be holding the purse strings, for example, or he might be the one, who's she has to talk him into it, but she's generally the one who has the decision making.
Well, we've got our decision maker, we've got our influencer, we've got our gatekeepers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do, once you've established he or she is the one, you'll take them aside and you go, right, imagine this lovely summer's day, kids out there playing in the pool, wife's nice and happy because the kids are happy because you're happy because you've got this beautiful new home. Everything's going well. You've just had your promotion at work. You've got this lovely new house. It's a summer's day. Your friends are coming round. You're going to have a few beers and have the time of your life. Life is perfect. And this is where your perfect life is. And obviously, I've put a 20-minute sales pattern into a 10-second kind of sentence there. Yeah. But if you do it properly, you get them visualizing it. And when they can see it and smell it and hear it and imagine it, the emotional side of their brain has kicked in. And that's the center that regulates decision making, the emotional side of it. And they've just done all the work for you. They've visualized their kids in the point. Yeah, exactly. Once you're into that limbic bit of the brain, and that's the bit that's going, yep, this is what we need. Because as you know, I'm not teaching you anything you don't already know. It's the emotional side that you're appealing to, where the decisions are made. It's justified afterwards by logic and facts and figures. And as soon as you've got that kind of, yes, I can see that. I can see my wife happy, my kids in the pool, the barbecue with the steak on it, and the friends from work coming around with beers to congratulate me. And again, they're doing the work for you. You're just prompting them, and then by the time if you've done a good enough job, by the time you've finished, then that's it. They're looking around everything else. You're like, oh yeah, that's another good reason I can buy the place, and oh yeah, that's another good reason I can buy the place. You can leave them to it, and they'll come back to you and say, yeah, we're going to go and figure out how we can make an offer. Again, we're limited on time, so I've condensed probably an hour's worth of sure.
But what I'm taking from that, right, as everybody's tuned into this, I'm taking from that we do want to start off painting a picture for them. Mm-hmm. We want to, as we talk about mind control and we talk about really trying to connect with somebody on that level, human intelligence is leverage what we have learned about them to then show them how this particular, let's say, particular home will fit all of this stuff that they already do. And that's going to help them start to visualize it and feel better about, wow, yeah, I can actually, oh my God, that's a great point. I can see that.
And again, you're looking at, so there are other factors that you need to take into consideration as well. And that is how their brain works with regards to, is it audible? Is it visual? Is it kinesthetic? That kind of thing. So listen to the words they're saying. If they're saying, oh, I feel really at home here and I know this is a place, then they're obviously somebody who's a kinesthetic person. If they're turning around and saying, oh, I can hear us, or I can see this being the future or whatever, listen to how their mind operates. So if they're a visual person and they say, oh, do you see what I'm saying? Oh, do you look at this, and once you get to grips with it, you can then appeal to that side of their personality, because it's no good trying to sell using an audible sale to a visual person.
So so let me do this for a minute then. Let's say we're meeting somebody new for the first time. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's important to learn about all this.
Yeah.
I guess we should truly define first to begin with, because again, reading through your stuff, what is elicitation?
So elicitation is an unassuming way of getting information out of people without asking questions. Okay. And because questions are dead. The questions are bad news. You know, if you're asking questions, then what you're going to find is people automatically go on guard. Like, why is this person quizzing me? Why am I getting interrogated here? So then naturally their defenses go up because they're like, well, why does he want to know that? Whereas you can use elicitation, and this is a form of making provocative statements, which will get them to talk and share the information with you without you saying something with a question mark on the end.
Okay, so
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and I'm curious to know more. Like, what are some key steps you would take if you're meeting somebody new? We want to find out whether they are visual, they are audible. We want to maybe learn a little bit more. As you just said, we don't want to be too much into the question asking. And I will say, from a sales perspective, a lot of it is ask questions, listen for the answers, dig further, figure out the need, figure out the why. What I'm hearing from you is you're almost going down this road of, don't make it so much about the question, but I imagine there's still got to be some conversation that goes on.
So again, starting with the question isn't necessarily bad. You know, hi, how you doing? How's your day been? Whatever, get the rapport going, that kind of thing. Now, before you even get close to the house, the first thing you want to be saying to them is, so how come you're leaving your home? Why are you looking to buy? Are you leaving somewhere else? Are you selling your house? Is it, what's the situation? Listen to what they say and how they say it. So if they turn around and say, "Oh, we hate our old house," why? Right? You need to get to why. You know, whether it's on the main road, the traffic's so noisy, blah blah blah. All right, okay. You don't need to worry about selling this one yet, especially if it's not on the main road. They've figured that out for themselves, so you don't have to start going, "Oh, well, this one isn't." And just hear the words. So again, you're listening for all the keywords of how their brain operates, and you're trying to literally profile this person. And once you've found out all the the way they speak, what words they're using, you can use their words back in your sales. So, especially if they say keywords, or I mean, it's. I'm just trying to think of an example, and I'm doing a dreadful job. But if they use a specific word, if they keep turning around and saying, "Oh, it's inevitable," use that word back to them.
Right, mirror.
Yeah, and again, they'll kind of, you'll get on the same wavelength. But so when you've asked them a few questions, you've elicited some information through provocative statements, so if they turn around and say, "Oh, we hate our house, it's on a noisy, busy road," you can turn around and go, "Oh yeah, I bet that drives you nuts." Now, you haven't asked a question; you've made a provocative statement. They'll do the rest. They'll then turn around and say, "Oh, it's chaos. School times, rush hour. I'll worry about the kids that are growing up, and I'll worry about them going out the front and getting into an accident. There's joyriders." And so, again, you've got a load of information out of them, and all you've said is, "I bet that drives you nuts."
Right.
You've just made a very short statement. And what you're going to do is you're going to be saying less, let them say more, and you're basically gathering intelligence that you can then make a mental note of. Then when you're inside the house, you go, "Look at this safe garden where the kids can play without the traffic, a nice quiet street where the kids can ride their bikes up and down without the worry of lunatics and joyriders." You're using their same words and same fears. So, and again, I do kind of feel a little bit here like I'm kind of teaching you stuff you already know, but, it is.
Look, I truly believe that we can always learn more, and we can always understand it in a different way, and we can always take in the information and dissect it differently, so that when we hear it a different way, it may resonate with someone, right? Look, I said this on stage yesterday. I was doing an event, and we were talking about goals at one point, right? And having goals, especially at this time of the year, is very important. And we don't give up on what we want to achieve. We've got to stay focused, and we know that 40% of people are going to do that within the next few days. By the end of the month, over 40% of people have said, like, that's it, enough. I'm not the first guy to talk about goals. I'm not the first guy to bring up the concept. However, I've got my way that I do it. I've got my spin on the way I teach it, and my spin on the way it works for me, and my spin on the way, it has worked for a lot of people that we work with. So by being able to share that with people, they may just hear that in another way that they go, "I got it." So back to, not teaching us things we don't already know. No, there's some good stuff coming out of this. In fact, there's some really good stuff coming out of this. So now we look and say, we set the stage. We got somebody new that we're talking to. What I understand here is, hey, do your pre-screening. right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
We've re-emphasized the importance of listening once you ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
We've also said, hey, don't go crazy asking questions, but more, again, this mirror approach, be able to leverage some of the things they said to almost let them talk more, elicit more information, then leverage that information when you get to, let's say, subject property. You walk in, you see that it fits the bill. Now we can almost repeat and bring back up some of that information that we've now, that intelligence that we've gathered. We can now leverage that in helping them understand that this is what you were looking for, right?
That's
here,
it, yeah.
Right. Love that. So let's say this, then we're talking to somebody, and I know from the neuro-linguistic programming and all the skills that you possess, how can we read their words and their mannerisms to know if they're lying about the information or if they're lying about the answers that they're giving to us?
So there are some verbal cues that you can look for, and this is going to help your sales guys out there, especially when it comes to if somebody asking a particular question, like,
I'll give you an easy one. You want to know?
Yeah, go for it. What's the regular?
Here. You come to me, you're like, I want to go buy, and I'm like, hey, are you pre-qualified, or have you spoken to a mortgage broker? Have you found out how much money you actually have to be able to do this? A lot of people, of course, I can do that.
Yeah. See that last little bit where you said, I can do that?
Yeah.
I can do that. Not I have done that. So,
yeah.
Listen to the statement as well as look at the body language. Right. Okay. So there are all the, so what I'll say to people when it comes to kind of body language and deception detection is ultimately you're looking for one thing, and that's change. So if you turn around and say, hey, have you had a good day? And they go, yeah, I've had a good day. And you go, brilliant. Was the traffic all right here? And they go, yeah, the traffic was great here. You go, right, have you spoken to a mortgage broker? And they go, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Then I'm not saying folding your arms but it's different. It was different. The tone was different. The reaction was different. The everything was different. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for change. And it might not necessarily mean that they're lying about seeing a mortgage broker, but maybe there's something there that, the mortgage broker has said, well, yeah, you can't have $500,000, but you can have 350, and they're looking at a $420,000 house, $1 house, Yep. So that maybe they're thinking, well, I have, and I didn't get the answer I'm wanting, so maybe I can put an offer in, or so don't automatically assume that change is a lie, but it does mean that something's different, and then it's down to you to then probe further and find out, why is that different? Why is that? Have they reacted in a different way?
Okay, here, a question of that then. Back to what we said a moment ago about, like, don't ask too many questions in a way where it feels like they're going to get their guard up. You want to weave those questions in properly. At that point that you've now, your senses have gone off going, change, like, just check, there was a change there. Where do you go from there? And I'm going to keep going for a moment. I don't know this person. In a minute, I'll ask you, like, what about if I know them, right? We've already got a rapport, but I don't know them. I sense change. To me, it says there's something that doesn't line up properly here.
Yeah.
Where do you go with that?
So,
and I know there's a million directions that can go.
Yeah, I mean, so you don't want to make the person feel necessarily stupid, but you can turn around and say something along the lines of, listen, lots of people just, jump on the internet, Google a mortgage broker, look at the first one that comes up, read a couple of reviews and go, yeah, I'll try this guy. Some people shop around. There are people we can recommend. Was this guy recommended to you, or what? And so you can ask about the mortgage broker. You say, because there is another guy that I've got who is like, he can really look after you if you prefer me to hook you up with somebody who's, renowned for blah, blah, blah. And then the guy's going to turn around and respond something along the lines of, yeah, you know what? I did a Google search, top of page 1. There he was. I clicked and, and you go, okay, well, look, don't worry. Everybody does it. And again, so you don't want to make them feel stupid and go, well, duh. You can say, well, look, and everybody does exactly the same thing. Go with somebody trusted. Right. Here's my mate's card, or whatever the case may be. So let's face it, it's not every day you buy a house, is it? So right. It's going to be a case of people. If it's a subject they're unsure of, what do they do? The first thing they do is they jump onto any search engine and kind of see who pops up on page one.
So here, I'll give you another one. What if it was like you said, let's figure out the decision maker, who's wearing the pants. What if somebody said, yeah, like this is me, and they come in by themselves, and you're thinking it's just them, and all of a sudden you get that something that says to you, no, there's somebody else there. What would you do to probe further, even if I already told you it's just me?
If I already, that would be really difficult. I would imagine. See, I mean, this goes back to what you were saying about you doing your due diligence, and it's a little bit difficult when you know, I don't know what extent you'd go to pre-screening somebody anyway, especially if it's just somebody who wants to come and have a look and take it from there. But the more information you can gather on them prior to the actual showing up at the property, the better. And this is where, I mean, for me, before I made an appointment to meet somebody at a property, I'd want to know as much as I possibly could, and I'd be through conversation, even if it's on the phone, I'd be finding out as much as I possibly could from that person. Why you're moving, where are you coming from, and what's your situation.
So I had a client of mine a number of months ago, a few months ago. He had a call from somebody. And this somebody said that they were, they gave him a story, and the story was something like, I want to move back to the area. I need, a big property. I want lots of space. I want more time to see my kids. He had this whole thing laid out. And my client went, something doesn't smell right. Kept talking to the guy, and the guy gave him the story. And it was like, something was off, but at the same time too, this guy wants to go see a fair sized property. It was kind of specific with, the fact that he knew he wanted to be by the water, but he wanted land. So he was, he had, it's like the story seemed to line up, and my client ended up going, something's off. Yeah. Right. And so, I mean, I guess at that point, what would you do if you felt that? Something's off. This is a new person. You're not with them, in person. This is a phone call that comes through. They seem pretty specific of what's going on, but your spidey senses are going like, no, it ain't working. Something's wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely approach with caution. So, I mean, I know from people who've done this kind of thing in the past because of the world that I live in. Right. But people I know have gone to see properties within the industry I've previously worked in, so they can literally leave a window open so they can come back later that night. Wow. Use the property for what they want to use it for. Leave the property and shut the window after them. Now, obviously, in my world, if you're operating in a particular part of the world where, you don't have an ops room, you don't have, military bases available where you can pop round and do certain things. So you have to do whatever you need to do to be able to, whether you're working in an old derelict warehouse or a hotel suite or an empty property, sometimes you have to utilize that kind of thing. So for somebody in my industry, and like I said, I do know people who've done this, they've generally got it pretty well rehearsed. They've thought out all the questions and answers. They've gone to view the property, and then, like I say, just left a window open or just figured out, how do I get in here later? It, from your point of view, absolute nightmare, because it's just a waste of time and effort and everything. Sure. So I suppose if you know something's off, I mean, you can only hope for the best, really, in the grand scheme of things. You can hope that, this person's got a story that they're telling you because they're too embarrassed to tell you the truth.
Well, I will tell you that my client ended up doing some digging and found some old newspaper articles about this guy. And he actually was just getting out of jail for this exact same thing because he committed fraud in previous situations. So my client, at that point, basically said, just cut ties.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, he felt something was wrong, so he went and dug further.
Yeah, well, that goes back to what I was saying about your due diligence and finding out
right, and exactly
about the person. Right? Yeah. So
let's spin this now. Now we know the person. We've done business with them in the past. This is, or no, forget that. It's an active client. We're doing business with them now. We believe we are in a trusting relationship already. Is there anything in particular that we should be watching for from them to know if they're still telling us the truth about anything that's going on? Because again, we are now in what's called an agency relationship. I need to know you're telling me the truth. I need to know what I'm conveying to the other parties is going to be the truth. Maybe I've got doubts. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't trust you 100%, but you have hired me and we're in this relationship. Is there things I should be watching for?
Yeah, again, just change. Look, constantly be scanning for that change. So, I mean, a couple of little things you can look for, like visual cues, as it were, is their blink rate. The blink rate will increase under stress. So, if you're...
Is that for everybody, Gavin?
Yeah. And everybody's blink rate is different. Sure. So, and every time you look at something different in the room, every time you move your eyes, you will blink naturally. So, some people, they blink a lot anyway. Other people, they don't so much. But what you're looking for is, if you can imagine you're there reading a book, and as you're going down the page, you will hardly blink at all. You're relaxed. You're imagining the words on the page as a story, blah, blah, blah. Your blink rate's going to be very, very low, probably maybe 2 to 3 a minute. Now, if you're in a high stress situation, you will see anybody under pressure, you will see their blink rate increase dramatically. Open and shut. So, and to work this out, all you do is you look at how many times they blink over 6 seconds, times it by 10, and you've got your blink rate per minute. Once you've established in conversation with them what their blink rate per minute is as a baseline, as standard, and then you talk about a specific subject, and then all of a sudden it's increased, then you go, why has that blink rate increased during the conversation about this particular subject? It was a kind of, I don't know, 20 per minute while we were talking normally. All of a sudden it's now 45 per minute, when I talk about the boiler being replaced or whatever the case may be.
Interesting. So that's a big one that you're looking for is blink rate. Yeah,
definitely.
And this is across the board. This is a human nature thing.
Yeah. So it's very rare that there's a one size fits all when it comes to body language and that kind of thing. But this is one of the universals, a bit like smiling. You'll smile when you're happy, you'll cry when you're sad. Right. This is one of the universals. And then another universal for the flip side, if you're talking to a client and they put if they've got a pen or something like this, and you're talking to them and you go, are you happy with this? And they go, yeah, I'm happy. If they put anything in their mouth, even if it's their hair, they've got a ponytail and they put their, that's a need for reassurance, irrelevant to what they're saying. So
have you been taught how to control your blink rate just by the training that you've had, or is that something that humans? Again, it's not something that we can.
Yeah, we had to do something really, really interesting. So in order to get good at spotting deception, you also have to be good at covering deception. And one of the things we had to do is we had to get interviewed by somebody, and the whole thing was recorded. Yeah. And then we had to take the recording and sit and watch it again and again and again, because you the only person. So if I did the same to you, if I said, right, I'm going to sit you in a room, I'm going to record it, and I'm going to kind of play it back to you. And you have to play it back and you have to watch it, because you're the only one who knows when you're really lying. So therefore, when you were lying, so then you can look for what your body is doing. So if you go, oh, right, hang on a minute, every time he asked me that question, I did
my arm or my this or that.
Then all of a sudden you go, okay, I know what my tell is. So, and because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to know for 100% sure, and there's nobody going to be definitively knowing that you're being deceptive or not, other than you. You can spot your own tells. When you know your own tells, that's when you can either train them to control them, or you can do the opposite, where you can just throw them in as red herrings here, there, and everywhere.
Okay, so I've asked you about a prospect that we've never met. Mm-hmm. I've asked you about somebody we're currently working with. Mm-hmm. I would now shift it and say, what about when I'm working to represent my own client? And that's all good, but I'm dealing with an agent on the other side of the table. How do we know if they're deceiving, lying, or hiding anything from us? Should I just come right back to that and go, watch the blink rates, watch the mannerisms, look for change?
Yeah, all humans, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Establish a baseline. That's the first thing you want to do, because as soon as you know what's normal for them, then you will soon learn when there's something happens that's not normal.
Okay, so baselines could be, I guess, the tonality of my voice.
Yeah, absolutely everything. So the tone, the speed, the pitch, everything. So if you're somebody who talks and you're very animated and you're doing this and and you're talking with your hands and making gestures, and then all of a sudden I'll turn around and say, so tell me about the history of the house, and they go, yeah, there's no history. And all of a sudden they're not animated and they're talking quietly and they're talking slower, and then, and they go, yeah, there's nothing for you to worry about there. Let's just move on. And then they go, let me tell you about the outdoor kitchen, and they go back to being animated. So I know obviously in these instances I'm over exaggerating, but any kind of change is what should be grabbing your attention, and you can only spot change and see what's not normal when you've baselined and figured out what is normal.
Okay. And there's the big takeaway right there. Set a baseline. So start to get a sense of who you're dealing with, how they sound, what they do, what the mannerisms look like, any type of body language. Get a sense of what that is when somebody's in a very comfortable spot. So it's almost like open up the opportunity or open up the conversation in a comfortable place, in a look for the good, let's say, or how that part of the conversation, so that you can tell when something does change from even the tone of the conversation. What's going to change with that person? We can start to see what's going on. Like, for example, what if I said to you, I'm talking to a prospect and they give me an objection. Let's say, okay, here, I'm on the phone with somebody and I'm making my prospecting calls and they give me an objection.
Okay.
How can we set the tone there? Or how can we create a baseline or even understand if it's a real objection or they're just trying to get us off the phone? How can we tell that? We don't know the person. We don't have much rapport, but we are trying to get something from them.
Yeah. So what I would do, I'd go down the avenue of, right, let's explore that. Now, if they're trying to get you off the phone, they'll go, I haven't got time now.
Yeah.
Or they'll go, look, it's just not for me, or whatever the case may be. If they've got an objection and, and they say, look, I don't like the open fire, I don't like open fires. And you go, right, let's explore that, see what we can do about that. Then all of a sudden they go, okay, yeah. And they're open to saying, well, look, we can ask the vendor if that can be removed and underfloor heating put in, or what, or what. I really don't know. Yeah. But if they're willing to explore it, then it's not just an excuse. It's something that, it's a genuine objection or something they have feelings about. And like I said earlier, with the whole kind of what I call selling them the dream, if you've sold them the dream, anything else is irrelevant. Because I've known people who they've looked at a house and once you've sold them the dream, they might be looking for a 3-bedroom house with a closed kitchen, and this is a 2-bedroom house with an open plan kitchen. And you've sold them the dream, and they go, yeah, do you know what? We can extend and build an extra bedroom there, and we can build a wall here. And before you know it, they've built in their mind, they've built a different house to the one you've just sold them. But what you've not sold them is the bricks and mortar. You've sold them the dream of living here, right here in this spot. And if that's what counts, is sell them the dream. I'll repeat it, sell them the dream.
Yeah. No. Sell that to them. And now you're also going to be on the good side of things. You're going to be figuring out where the truth is, where they're really into it. Create a baseline off of that. And then again, you can start to see what's shifting along the way to see if things changed or anything's, going the other way. So as we're discussing this, like we're talking about people, how to tell somebody's lying. What do we need to know that I haven't asked yet? When it comes to like being able to tell if somebody's lying, have we really dug into this today?
Well, unfortunately, if I went through like absolutely everything when it came to kind of baselining and lying, deception, it would be like a 10-hour plus show to cover the basics. Because you're looking for everything from breath location, with their belly breathing, chest breathing. You're looking at their body language. There's so much, and that's before we've even touched on statement analysis. And this is something that, again, is a massive, massive part. You remember earlier we were talking about, you said, if you've got a mortgage broker, and you go, yeah, I can do that, rather than, yes, I have done that. Yep. These are the things that are going to give people away. I've used this as an example before when I turn around and you ask somebody, have you had my wallet? Have you stolen my wallet? And they go, I don't even know where you keep your wallet. They haven't said no.
Right.
And this is pivotal. You're listening out for that most important no. It doesn't matter so much what comes after that. If they say, no, I don't know where your wallet is, or no, I haven't seen your wallet, but you're listening for that no. And statement analysis is a huge part of what I do. because people will evade. They'll give you an answer, but not the answer. And people in society, we've got to a point where we accept something that's being said, because of societal norms.
2 weeks ago, my son was not in school. He was at a hockey tournament. There's a lot of competitive sports. And over the weekend, it was on the Friday, and over the weekend, some friends of his that he was online with, playing with, mentioned that the inside of his desk is soaking wet. His binder is soaked, his calculator is soaked. And he sat there and he was upset here at home. He's like, I don't understand. I'm not at school for one day and all of a sudden my stuff is wet. Like, why? And he's 12 years old. And so, he goes to school the next day, back on Monday, and he tries to figure out what's going on. He starts asking around. And just to fast forward this story, he asked one particular guy who happened to be looking at his desk at one point, and he went up to this guy. He says, like, what are you doing? What are you doing at my desk? And the guy's like, oh, nothing, man, nothing. And he goes, did you spill the water? And the guy's like, no, man, it wasn't me. It's like, well, who did it? He's like, man, I'm just telling you, I'm just looking. Would you suggest that kid knew who did it by those types of answers?
Yep.
See, that's what I said, Gavin. I could just spy too, man. No.
You could be the next James Bond.
No, but it was listening because I said to him, I said, tell me how he said it. I want to hear what he said. What did he say? How did he say it? Just to understand. And like you said a moment ago, he didn't say no when we said, do you know who did it? It's like, you just played defensive.
Yeah. See, that in itself should automatically raise a red flag. So imagine you've just walked out of Target and you're walking across the parking lot and you've maybe stopped to check your phone, right? And some guy walks up to you and goes, "Hey, what are you doing standing by my car?" What are you going to do? Are you going to go, "Oh, nothing, man, nothing. I'm not looking at your car," or are you going to go, "What the hell's your problem?"
Yeah,
I'm just checking my phone, dude. Yeah, man. So think about how people would naturally react to a situation and ask yourself, okay, how if this was me, if I turn the tables, how would I react? Because the truth of the matter is, if that kid was doing nothing at his desk or had nothing to hide or didn't know something, and he'd come along and said, "Hey, what are you doing by my desk?" He'd be like, "What the hell are you on about?"
Yeah.
Okay. It will be a different dynamic. So, yeah.
So listen, you just said it. It would take us like another 10 hours to go through all of this stuff properly. And I can respect that. To that, I would ask then, because I know you've got some books. I know you got some courses. Where can people find this stuff? Where can people go and get it?
Brilliant. Well, the book How to Tell If Someone Is Lying is on Amazon. It's different to your normal body language books because it not only teaches you what to look for, but helps you to get proficient in each and every area and then teaches you the fastest and best methods, mainly through a mixture of storytelling and, as you know, the long-term memory, emotion and storytelling, it's all the same part of the brain that stores it. So if you can learn through storytelling, that's when it's going to help to kind of go in. So I've kind of used techniques within the book to help people retain the information and get good. So that's on Amazon and all the other
and it's called How to Tell If Someone's Lying.
Yep. So Marketing Genius, it's based on a Google search. And apparently 100,000 people a month search how to tell if someone's lying. So I just kind of figured, why not? The algorithms will do the work for me.
Well played. So, yeah. Where else is there somewhere else that you want to direct anybody to go to?
I mean, I'm on all the social media sites. I do have a YouTube channel, which is literally at Gavin Stone author. And what I do is I tend to invite people mainly from the intelligence community. So I've had a mixture of guests on there from the KGB, MI6, CIA, FBI. A lot of them are friends I've either known or worked with for a long time, and they come on and tell their stories from the field. And we try and give lessons as well that people can take away to kind of, learn something worthwhile that is not normally taught to the public, as it were. And I've got a massive event coming up the end of the summer as well.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure everybody could visit the website, visit the social media to learn more about that.
Yep. Facebook. I don't really use Instagram that much, but I've got a Facebook page and Twitter page, and by all means, I'm on LinkedIn if anybody wants to contact me directly.
Excellent. Definitely reach out, guys. And some of those friends, just watch out because he's got friends in high places.
Even worse, friends in low places.
Gavin, let me ask you this. Two last questions here as we take off.
Sure.
It's the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You've done everything you had to do today.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
Because my daughter's safe in bed, we're all fed. We're all fed and got a roof over our head. We're all alive. That's good enough for me.
I love that, man. I love that. And again, yes, I know everybody tuned in, regular listeners, love you guys. Thank you. But you hear me say it every show. Gavin, we ask that question on every show. Mm-hmm. Nobody yet has brought up money. Thank you for keeping our streak alive over here. No my friend, any final words of wisdom that you want to share just before we take off today to help everybody get out there, build more mind shares, to get more market share, anything of the sort that you just final words of wisdom?
Yeah, get it wrong, fail fast. Learn from the failing fast so you can get back up on the bike and start pedaling again. You know, it's one of them things where, you know, nobody can expect to take anything they learn from these podcasts or books or anywhere else and just go out and be proficient in it. You know, so screw up, mess up, trip over, get it wrong. And as soon as you've got it wrong as many ways as you can, then you're going to start to get it right. And when you get it right, that's when you can streamline it and do better. You know, that's kind of my lesson for today, I think.
Very amazing. Well, we've had some fantastic lessons from you today, and the conversation has been nothing shy of interesting, informative, fun for sure. And yeah, that was a really quick hour right there, my friend.
Yeah, it flew, didn't it?
It really did. But hey, my friend, I thank you very, very much for making the time for us today. No
problem at all. Thank you for having me.
You bet. You're either listening to this on, your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. While you're there, be sure to download your free copy of our Mindshare 101 goal setting worksheet to help you conquer 2024 and become the best version of you that you really want to be. A reminder as well that if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, an in-person keynote talk for your upcoming event, and or ongoing virtual momentum training, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a consultation call, learn more what you're looking to achieve and how we will help you do just that. Of course, just get in touch with us on any one of the platforms, and we will certainly be right there to give you a hand. Don't forget, please leave a review of this podcast. We make it really simple. Go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. That'll help you, you iPhone users get straight to iTunes. Android will help you get Spotify or whatever other platform you listen to the show on. Once again, a big, big thank you. 5 stars, nice little review. We love that stuff. But seriously, a big thank you. If we haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare 101, on TikTok at Mindshare 101, on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. Just before we sign off, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you. Thank you to Kids Keep in Touch Systems, as well as REM Real Estate Magazine for sponsoring the Mindshare podcast. Be sure to visit our site to learn more about what these powerful companies will do to help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.